away and, not even giving the wife the reason why you decided to walk away. You just took a walk and leaving the wife with the children. And then years have passed. And then another woman finds him and decides to marry him. Does this cause also? Because I am particular about the cause.
No, yeah, they of course the cause won't happen because that other woman that came later already was not in the scene at all.
Which other woman would have caused
the husband already?
Strange woman. She was not aware of any strange woman. So the cause now is on the man alone.
And you know, for the fact that some people enter marriages for some certain reasons. You understand? Because some of these marriages, some people enter transactionally. Okay. Maybe the woman has money and he came in, or the man has money, she came in, and now there's no money. You understand? So the man is off. So in the first place, the man did not even, for me, in the first place, in some situation, the man did not even come into the marriage with his heart, with being committed. You understand? Most cases it's like that.
Okay.
Yes.
We've just been told that our time is almost up. So, but one word from every one of us. What is your advice to those that snatches someone's husband?
Please stop it. That is just one word. It's if you snatched someone's husband, just be assured that that same husband will be snatched from you. So stop it, wherever that is involved.
Stop it. Don't snatch someone's husband. To you, what is your advice to the pastor? Pastor Peace Ibioma. What is your advice to her? Continue to curse, or take back the curse and pray for your congregation?
Of course, she has to pray for her congregation. But I want to advise women, married women, take care of your husband. Make him happy, make him comfortable. If you notice that there is snatching going somewhere, let him know that thing he saw there is still here. Right.
So that thing that he saw there is still here. Where will you say those things are for women? Advice to women out there.
Well, I would say that, they should respect their husbands. Yes, and make them want to yearn coming back home, wherever they are. And to those who are snatching husbands, I would say that women, we are the demons of ourselves. We are the witches to ourselves. Please, let's love ourselves. Let's love ourselves.
Okay.
Yes.
Coming from Gift, she's giving us gift advice. Let's love ourselves. Stop snatching. But you also, Dr. Juliet, also said that let's do those things that brings the men back home to know that those qualities are still in us. Give me one of those qualities that you advise a woman.
Look good always.
She already said respect your husband. What? Give me one word.
Look good always.
Looking good always.
Respect him.
Give him quality food.
I know you're from Akwa. I know you're from Akwa. I was expecting that. So if you didn't say that, I know you're from Akwa. Give him good food. Anyway, thank you, ladies, for coming on to this program. Esther said, give your husband good food. Very important. I know why I say that. Very important. I know men that don't want to eat outside. They will tell you, no, until I get home before I eat. That's because their husbands give them good food. And then their wives give them good food. And then coming from Juliet says, look good, just like she's looking good. There's no way her husband will see her and don't want to say, oh, come back home. And then from Juliet, and from Gift says, respect your husband. It is very important to respect your husband, because when you respect him, he will also respect you. Anyway, this advice I leave with you women out there. Stop snatching other people's husband. Until I see you again, I am Patricia Urumugibos. Thank you for joining us today.
ITV, certainly the best. Ogba masquerade dance, acrobatic cultural dance, originated from the Gala people of Kogi State, Nigeria. Historically, this masquerade dance is used during the rites of passage, as the masquerade display its energetic dance, which is deeply tied to ancestral veneration and serves as a vibrant expression of religious cultural heritage. This Ogba masquerade dance is viewed as manifestation of deities and ancestral spirits. The masquerade performance requires immense agility and strength, featuring rhythmic, well-rehearsed body movements that are guided by traditional drums and gongs for performance. This Ogba masquerade dance has evolved into a popular cultural exports, showcased of festivals, burials of noble individuals, and community events across various regions of Nigeria. The dancers typically wear brilliant, distinct attire to embody the spirit of the masquerade, while thrilling audience with their impressive footwork. For a closer look at the energetic footwork and traditional rhythms that makes up Ogba masquerade performance.
is Anegbete community, situated in Isako Central Local Government Area of Edo State. It is an agrarian community with united people that promotes unity and oneness for peaceful coexistence. The inhabitants of the community migrated from Benin, the cradle of black civilization, a kingdom where king is truly king. The ancestors of Anegbete saw that age was the main determinant of leadership in the rural setting, and the eldest man in the settlement was regarded as the leader who presided over meetings, and his authority is held in high esteem. To further strengthen this unique system of leadership, age group evolved in Anegbete. In Anegbete, age group is categorized into two, that is the common and the noble. Anegbete is rich in cultural heritage, as the community at noon saw the commitment of the festival with the first set rolled out in beauty colors to showcase their might and strength, indicating their feet and ready for the responsibilities behold on them. The streets in the community with a feed up of young men and women adorned with the festival. Later, the royal family takes the stage as their children fight out royally and work in the community to showcase their might and fitness.
My leader.
ITV, certainly the best.
The threat of global warming is real. You have seen the destruction of lives and property as a result of incessant flooding. Make the environment a conducive place for all to live in. Stop polluting the environment. Protect the environment today. This message is brought to you courtesy Independent Television and Radio.
ITV, certainly the best.
Ile dunogo me wa be ne kai wa bota wa bi dami ho ogi bota o we se eduno peru mano hia gba gun ayeme na edene na unda we erima eruwa o hia we se ekme already mana bi re ni madogun we edogun ameme ibota na uta ge ni ma agwan we dene na o ijo na wa no go me gwaye ugina ibota na oye otemere e Victor Ibizugbe wuto ni wan
adoniro wa ka de risi alawo ma ga guwa aro atagbe ewa ya kan mi mami onu wa ya ere matana kekere ni wa ya ere lebe owe na teme manu manya me ari ni meri ni kere we no mo no ya ere ni ori ewugo afegbe ga go wa aro
ọba atọpẹ ise iyo na wa meno hia wo munu ma na de na we gie ibota na oye oviwa otunwa pastor Kabari ne ovi unamuri wa bi dan ho oteme Ibizugbe ewu tage me na no dawe obono lare na tie iyo na nwa iyo na inwa wage
ni boyo
kiawo
o ma ya mi o
ise
o sa bo na ga mi ma nwa ti ma mi egbo nwa mi na ya nwa
daniel okay nana kian wo sa oba na ga mi ma nwa iyo na nwa na ni dan pa yes we ro no as it dey mi ma nwa
no okay okay go mami ni no we èèyàn lọ́gọ́ náà sùn ní adùnbẹ́ ìwé oṣù ìdàmọ́nà aya ìwọ̀n ṣùgbọ́n ìmẹ̀wé ní òṣàbọ̀ ní múdà kí mà ìmẹ̀mọ́ ẹ̀mọ̀ aya ìwọ̀n
ìṣẹ́
mọ́mí ẹ̀yà rẹ̀nà àkíyàn àgbọ̀n náà àkíyàn ẹ̀ ẹ̀rọ àgbọ̀n náà ẹ̀rọ bọ́ wọn apá yé òṣàbọ̀ lórí àfihàn gbé ni màá yá afẹ́fẹ́fẹ́ wẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ wẹ̀ rẹ̀ yìí ẹ̀rọ ni mẹ̀ rẹ̀ yìí fún ni mi láàrẹ̀ yìí ẹ̀rọ àwẹ̀ láàrẹ̀ yìí ó sàbọ̀ ọyúgbé ògùn ẹ̀yà gbé máa yá ìyọ́ náà wọ́n báyé èrè gún wọ́n yẹ ẹ̀rìn ìwẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ nọ̀rọ̀ apáyú nọ̀rọ̀ adéyú fi wẹ̀ ọdún àwọ̀ wẹ̀ udò wọn máa wẹ̀ ẹ̀yìn wọ̀ ẹ̀gẹ́dọ̀ ọmọ náà déyọ́ Abi?
I don't know.
Where feel with you? Tu when Mami, any mama would say, sorry, one you go good Maya. Imato, Mama Kawe, David, my back, Maviani, Emma Sadu Boss, no give my book. So, Qua, Amy, Marialu, Maria, Mawa, we done. No, not by our bomb, the Maya bomb. Ma beg Maria, or no way name, no matter you feel. Okay, Boga ye. I take Naya. Ọ̀wọ́nà ọgbọ́n òkìkẹ́ ògúnná sí ẹgbẹ́ máa ń rẹ̀ màrẹ́gbọ̀n wọn. Ọ̀wọ́nà bá wọn òwe ọ̀nà mìíràn òkìkẹ́ èmi náà sùúrù dáyé máa ń rẹ̀ màrẹ́tò òwe bá wọn ọ̀pá òwe. Ọ̀wọ́nà ọ̀mìíràn àmì rẹ̀ òkìkẹ́ ní sùúrù dáyé nàrí màrẹ́mì àmì rẹ̀. Ọ̀wọ́nà èdè ọ̀nà ayẹ̀mẹ̀ ìwọ̀n súgẹ́súgẹ́. Then when I will not pan, I went. Omona de Uve, and I may not okay, my hammer. We are my de Uve, we are a man who feel with ye, a dobby, no de Uve. What's the same? About he said, Edo, no better, while only not in my morning, and I came be no yamo yuto. Ijona one. Ijona one, okay, guy and wine. Na lie uwe ni keni no sunu ewa na liwo bi ni keni no sunu o eni esi no eni dano ewa bi eni na we ro bi ni no sunu na iwe ni we ro uya nwa ni gbe uya dolu ni eji uya dolu kiaweji uya dolu gi wa weji gimale ma gwe era no nyawagwa no kane ediomaga wune eni no yido asunu wieke nu dawe ma doli giwai okekba nu dawe o makwe mokugbe okekba eni soga isunu we ye ho we yi e court yagiye iwie amadasu no diomaga ni no keke we ori no toga e court yagiye we no okekenu ya nwa umi na dolo weji ni okieke wedo ayere no wa madasu iraje enobi su otedo na ni atera toriga huyoto okekpa oragae ogona egbe ni ne nwina mi aka nwina edioma akpa ne muda oga ni eyoto ne monoragbo me he baba ya ga eyoto ogwa norigwe mokwa owoge no diono nore ye ka ladidi owoge nu kpoge ba no nore nokpa owogo na no ehia ya hone na gide fuero oni okbiani no wenyi mi okegi wenu dai eni no sunu da madasu ye mie nwawo wenu keke edo ayeri ona ya nwa edo no kpewo eni keni no we mie nwotagun na wese ni owe ho di wenu ni weri ebo de nwan we mie no ni we ama nwa na egbe we irakpa ni ekene edo aye ni ana eri ore no me odio we no rebo di wenu ni wewe ni no sunu na reviva na na yo isi gbelegbe nu de 2 by 2 nu de 500 by 1000 ni mo aneje kuwe ya me asefe nokpa ebuore ni buyu ntai ni bu waye rega ni anu di gbina na gbina igbina pia igbina sisi de ni wewe ba de wenu weri ebo dio we okayele wa e mani bu wa ahia mu otagun tabi yebe de wele be no wemi ili so no sunu de wore zebe uta zebo kayele awara record ewe viva wara guye moto ukpise idogba e lawyer ga mi ero e judge ga mi ero e police ga mi ero we a we I awa zero yo owo no ma we agbo ne kwele iwe be zero nya won ora yiro owo bi adafe ayiro nya oyogo la yuhu owo nya iwe ni na gbona ki ijo na nwa demi no sunu we no ho awara agbo awa agbape ebi kere ho yo wodore we ma take awa se yo we la we ni ma age iwe
ora igwe ni kere na mateti ya ikwaro ni ga oja ipa bo wodo ye kaka bodo to ta se boge mu da wuwe ni ido ya wa ijo na wa ni magwa kana inyo na wa no kan mo do momu unda uzo anogbeda oje uzo anaje no ki utama wewe odomomo bi ate ba we sa ba na igwe na gba we wo sunu
niwa Israel bi iva
ege mo boro bi do
una ka to pa ban ma we kiri yo
okay
mo we ro we ya ta mo give away we that for you know the head matters ebudi de we mi okay da mi ho usabe bo na egwu wa pa yo we ri ye doge yi usabe bo na oge mahamun alawda
ino sun da ba bi ona ya nwa ni
we are nwa who da me bege oku na ya agwe oku no give ai egwu idume na me tale
agege
ye ata oku na gba ni ma gwa na oruwi oda fun eri wa me yi na lo no ma no yi na wa wu ọmọ fode eku ma gi mi ku ga jo wa o na ga ori wa de ekema ni ma fimoti mari o kan ma hia hia we gi ma te wata ma gbe eki ma e gbe ewu le ma e ma ewu ma ma ne esa vebe o ha de no mu yo to na gi ma ge le re na mu pa mu re o ma na me we oge na ya bowa yoge bowa to wa le gwo kwa gi ma ye ma ta gbogba ni ma me kena la do o da o baba na ma ne bi e wo na e do di do wa ke ni resi o da wa ya ke mi e do ma to re de e do ma be de ri ke de o we e do iru e ke be na ta mi ata bi yeke no pa wa ta do be me go yi ko via eri ye ko de o wa o fi pa e ma ya gbe ni yi o ba ri ma na ma ya temu na ta ba ki ma mo ri yeke
ise
alawo da ma ya ri
ise
wa to oba to ipe o
ise do no pe o zebe ni hu ta na gbera gi we no dani yi me na di weni ni we emi ke ni ba mo na iwe ni ya kin usalobo akeliye enwani ma no ri ma erere na ya wo emi no ma kemi nema noro ni ma babori
amoni fuwa
no ma noro ayawo
mo dai
ara kenwa ipa ona be di ho ni ma ni ma ya ga eme kemi esi kemi da aye ho no ibi da noro o kebere gboro ikwa egbe na mi ebu yi meso we na ho ikwa gbemi we ono sunu da we unda we ya nwa unda sunu da ma be ge okike we ya nwa tokma wa ke ba pa awo eni na dege no si awe sunu ori enwa na wa we to bu we da be ge iwe mi no kwa we be bu we bo ukebegbe oye ima ohun tana na ya ka we iyo na nwa ni gbere emi no sunu da ho ni iye ewemade bo omo iya enwa iwe gbe mu etiyan se oso wa ko ye wodo na wa lo awa we re yo ni nwa we no ri ohweva we mo pa so pa we na ga o we emi we wa uni emi esi no okeke ga ribe mu we te ya oji owe we na ya oji odobi owo ko mo nu we te mu etiyan ga o hewo mai eni marizeyo nu we mazige sukuna nu mazeyo eni zebi ya agbezobu ya ari da ekokiyan eni ogi enu sanowo duari paseyo no ri tomusayo e ma be ri o we ga be ge we no ragbon u ya nwa na egbo nu da o kana be ijona wana emi no bu odeka ma re gojo we egun igbina oto na gbinaji unukpo na ya ho owege na ya gbe ogoma ege na muria no whether igege na kenorie we no dion we emi no keke no we nu tiero mo ba be do meeting we oko ezona no record no re police station orukpi se ade ya we na egwe bo ne bo na me na godao abi joni nwa so pa e mani buro eten amaye mie egwa ojide na ka ewe chief oji awa obini ero justice of peace egie over idolebo na the justice of peace amaye me justice of akpata dizigandewe ari kema no rase
lawa gbe o dayo takwa ni la yin takwa oyenusi la yin osunbo takwa ya la yin so hold on
ti ari egeji
teme cavalry
otani no mile one ti ari egeji
na la yin owo bonbon o saba gi mo de ba ire owe idolowo o si oba
lao igo wo ma fi ayo ohun emi no sunu da osunbo anini ofere where a police gijamu a police so gijanwa oji no na ri me na ya inwa we amami adia
moto lolu we iya na yin ni wa ibu boyan iya na yin na kokoko filoka yeto to kokoko moto rahia ye ho supan ye okeke oho emma mami ewe mamu yoto na ewe no gba no fu maya gbe no dole wi mana yi no ya lauda agu na me no gona ite de yo me ti yo wo lo ma alauda o eme no edo to temu ni maya o lauda o ni maya mami o ba imo o wi la dede o na we ega yin be na ge wi me no ma ni me e corona ma no ba ona ma na ewo ona be muhi no buyuto so pa e ma so na mu e mo ba awon no mu e mo ba o mo e mo sadobua huda oba o sadobu ma na no ibe ro de na ma beri o sadobua ru de mu no gwe no be bo ba de so allow that mo yami baba na ni e mi ro mi ta na we ni magun kana no kana aya nwa bra ke ya wona we abe no sun da roge ba e no sun na ma o hu do mo me ya we boy u fi wi de o we ya me nwa ni u be ke no sun da roge ba ona wuyo we ye we gbe radio no gbe radio ge su idawe o le adu ge le ri we had your way school at the night of you na weather igo lo yo igo down lo ni tabari me legi malu ro de baba na iyan ta mi ma na do kenere wa kenere si wa gi ma me mo ta da gbe gi ma lu emi ne mo ya gwa le bi no ma
wese
ba to ipe o
ise edo no pe oni ze gedi o ka pa yo mo enwu ta na ga ijo na won okpokpa ke yaro onari yoku eva okune no keke odoga ewe omodiorin okuno no kao okenye be and ini ibuna no bungwa obo obi ogi zukpo giva bukbia yena ira owe ni egbo hani no bi edoga odio okay ikpana ari dobu ogi so dobu na obona tali ni ya mabowe ye o no wi ga odion wi gyowa obona wo ma obona do we bu ona wo ne ona we yo wi ahi iye kere ba to kana mame ori we yo wi akona wo mo ari wona wo asu wa bu ta kwere bu doge ona gba ga ire ba o ta no da do we no lawa ni ku bi ba ku bi bana wo no gbera ri yoko wa otiko no mo wi ahi na no mu yiba no mo no mo nu da o ha no mu nu ahi ni da o ha ona we edetegbe oga mi no sunu da obi buhani no no gbe ona bu yen ho ye na mu ya ko na muru ona ru ayu mo ona ajowa o so wa no ziegbe e ma ri ba e neri ba ota ibe ka kubo ni lo ye ne ye na igbira go tiku ona bu ya ya we no bo we ni ewu o ri se ba e no nya mana mi enwa ye na ri miamia ke no bo no mu no ahida ye na mu no ahi ona mudawa wo ma amowa wa menu amebogbe wa muka wuru yena imu onu akhiri ona muda ni do ogijo money keni be kan yo na we ni wa mo dai eri kemi no kan lare no wa gbele an dile yin ye ma ri yere do bo we ni e mo nu da wa e dagi mu evue na ladian evue yin asaka yin ya na ladian bo bi akeni ya na bo ya ri wa oho ni no mo ya keni na iri e lo bi ni lo to ya bi e o to bi e ka lo ya re ni na asaka la laiwe ona laiwe no lai ho no la unu no la ya ona ba gbele me ha ibi ko na gbele to e de bi gbe yen yo de bo fi o ogere asaka fura buri na samudia ona wo de ka ri pagbe la asaka ro to ona ya ibi ye asaka ri le e money ha na wa wulo ona so e boya na very working yo bi you need take no bi e gi una ni etemi na e wo emi no re ba na ki we no job obrok padà give you aye we amike e de obiede e we ni dance we nyoma we no dane o kana di we ni we ro we jo na wa we ugbe na fiyeki o ti yarara o yara yu o be yara te e o ya ika we jo na wa o be re ro owo na ona we ebi ona wo yere ho omoni no wo be bia wa kewu ona wo e ho o wa ri ba gbon ni bia o wa wu bia se o ma se go pa ibi ni na do nwa ya na pa ya lawe ya ma ri jiji yare obi owo ene ije guso a no gbe zobu iya pa ya mi pi mu na Jesu kufo ona do agba ore dede edede na ga so dede gbe na we se we vo ya gbo yin na no na we wo ke dede na mi we obi owo gba ore wa na so owo e ma we da gbo ke aye owo mo na ya ti kara bo dole da gbo yo we yo gba ore mi owo mo ni ete ya oji mba si le suku na wona we aye obi are ni ete wona wu ni ewe nege ma yo yo mo no wi ri ra ni e butana e do na we ya jo na nwa yo bo pa meruwe benu yo mogere benu ya mogo owe ebi no wan ke go we love your neighbor benu ya love egbewe we mo ge ba we se ya we ni we ki a we egbewe e wo bi o ma re oye ijo na nwa uga o ku no dueki e be so dueki ara yo boss irowa unda ye ri 5000 ya ri ra re de ye ra ku 7000 ye ri 2000 ari wa ora izo pe no yo boss irowa okieki olawa o ma ni we ya do di we ni we ra we ne do eba di we ni we the no sunu da ge ba we no bo ebo no kan we wa o we re ma no ka zo bo ne ri ra gbon di we ni we ra we ne tisa we ne police di we ni we ni no ka gbera ijo na wa oye uta ni magwa kan de na eten edo no peru de ni we re na we se ni owe o ni we dege no se awe sunu ni na to ka e ma we ni we aya wa o ka le soro ora le yo ka le re usai waso o ma wu yo to we no we ro ka le na di we ni we ra ojo we na okeke ojo we soro no wa ze ojo we o ite life o amu abu we no do we no ro na no so lo bari e de na wa ya dole we ise na do ni we gbe okukin adori owe yi le kian we no odo no nya wa yo na wa emuhu na mi we era ga pa me odo si okuku bele le meva we ne baba be mi we ra gbon na wa ga de mi we ya wa de no sunu da maria be we na madasu de mi opa mi we ya wa we no ho no ko wodo na pa la no pa ko wodo na pa la no pa ana ibo mi wo so obi ne isenu bie na e ma no ka we be oni de ni amiro kabari domo wa la agu e mami we na zi egbe lo gba wata ebibi aso eni mi woni ta edunewu wa edunewu izomo wa we se mo na da mi ho na mata mami we be je gba iha osu wo he oge odilekwa mami we na me ko ni ma da loge ba owo emudia
ọwụ ami obi oji ya temu ya awulo wa hwe ya awulo poi so bono like vi ma awulo so bono yibo ni mo ni ma ya lawo da me no guana ta ma we na e tie mi a bi tori gbe me e ki na tori gbe me ba na tori wa ni dakime gele era me okwe ha ri we na we guana ibi era me iye na ju bi me ime fi yan bagbe magboko ba era me giro iye me giro iyan no we bi ode eyin mi ro so pa ime di ayi me ago wi owiye ani owiye magelefi osabo fi agbe mo mami owan no me ko dan lo ya go owi otu elu osalo gba emi amia oyin no oge osabo ayi ma de yeke nala ogogo emi ọmọ ìwé yóò tọ̀ òsàbọ̀ nẹ́ẹ̀gì ológun máa lànà gbèsè bẹ́ẹ̀ni màá yá tẹ̀ náà ọ̀wẹ́ àwẹ́ mi ni màá gbọ́ àlọ́ wọ́n ẹ̀ àwẹ́ wọn wọn náà ọ̀dà ọ̀gí ẹ̀fà lórí ìwúni ọ̀dà ẹ̀gbọ́ ẹ̀sẹ̀ ẹ̀ màá sọ kó ọ̀gẹ́ náà sọ fún mi rẹ̀ náà.
wọ́n ṣe eré máa ibizugbe ẹ̀dùn náà pẹ̀lú màkàkà bọ́ pọ̀ mú wa náà dání Uta organina no kanye ijona wa otama ewe bi magwegwa iko we ara no uta we iko we o kan kemi ya fe we lao emi na dege ya bomode emi no ya bomode ni ayona wa we to buwe be negbo mu da oro salobaru da eri awoni ma na ya age orun da eri oni ma ni ma ya ra ho na ga ye ni kemi na dege bi na ho yàrá wọn ní gbọmà ìbá màá náà mú gíẹ ìbòtà náà sẹ òfòmẹ ọbẹ kùzọ ànọdẹ ọba àtọpẹ yìí.
aláwòdà àmà yàrá mi ẹ o ilé máa tu ẹ ibi gbósàáyà ilé máa tu ẹ ibi ẹdọjà ní dàníhìmà màgẹ mi olóògùnmá ikọ àfọ gbogbo yàrá ọrẹ ní Jésù.
ọba àtọpẹ yìí ìṣe.
ITV, certainly the best.
Every year, the people of Okoromi, a village near Benin City, the headquarters of Edo State, roll out their drums to celebrate Ugioswen Ware Nohun Tete. The festival is known for peace and progress and was established by Oba Eware I during his reign as Oba of Benin. The festival is also to remind the people of the end of the year and offering of sacrifice to the God of peace and harvest in the land. Okoromi is a peaceful community and the people are loving, caring and associated with progress over the years. Ugioswen Ware Nohun Tete celebration goes with masquerade to identify the festival with the ancestors. The masquerades will dance to confirm the acceptance of the gods.
ITV, certainly the best.
ITV, certainly the best.
It is Viewpoint on ITV. I am Caroline Okonji. Now, we're still going to talk about our political system in Nigeria as it is beginning to reshape itself, and looking at the primaries that has been conducted so far. What can we say about 2027 election? Is it an election of competence or an election of political machinery? That is basically what we're going to be talking about today on Viewpoint, and we will have to go out on the street to talk to some relevant persons to hear what they have to say about the 2027 election. I am Caroline Okonji on Viewpoint.
I think 2027 is going to be a very unique election. First of all, let's look at the spread of candidates. For the presidential election, for instance, you have a preponderance of the candidates all gathered at the south of the country, whereas you have very few, maybe two, that are in the northern part of the country. I say two because Donald Duke emerged as the presidential candidate of the PROP, which, as you know, is a predominantly Talakawa party. If not the only major candidates among the major parties that are playing in this election from the north is Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the coalition ADC, which is the leading opposition party in Nigeria. So if you look at that geographical spread of both parties, it already presents a very interesting picture. So you would have, so to speak, the north going against the south. And the north that will be going against the south will be a united north and a highly fragmented south. I think at my last count, we have about 5 presidential candidates from the south. You have Peter Obi, you have Donald Duke, I just mentioned. You have a rumored Goodluck Jonathan. You have, who is the other southern? You have the president himself from the APC. All of them competing for the votes in the south. If you put the entire votes in the south together, they are barely just above half of the votes that you get from the north. So you still have that, minimal votes, and yet you have so many candidates jostling for that votes. Without meaning to push my party, but it makes sense to anybody that logically the United Party or the candidate that has the United Region supporting just one man would emerge as the winner of the election. And you don't need any prognostication to understand that. Because if you have fewer things being shared by more people, and you have more things being had by just one single person, then that person automatically is going to win the election. So that's one scenario of why it's going to be interesting. Another scenario is that the president himself, who is the candidate of the ruling party, has always been the candidate of the ruling party. There was no democracy there. He was reinstalled as their sole candidate. So they have not even tested out whether the president has any popularity left. From what we see in the country economically and otherwise, we know the president has no popularity, which is why they cleverly blocked off other candidates from the party from competing with the president.
So that political aspect, zero. Go reach Tinubu himself. Now zero. There is nothing like political. The system still remains the same. Those ones jumping from party to party, they are the same people, not the party. The party is just a logo. The same people moving from here to here are the same thing. They are not going to do anything. The way forward is revolution. Change all of them. The youth should wake up and change all of them. If you youth went there to pick a ticket, they will ask you where you get that 100 million. ESCC will come for you. That's why they put that 100 million. If you go there, they will ask you where you get that 100 million. That's why the youth, they run. But you should take over, not our forefathers. They said The youth is the leader of tomorrow, but you are in office for 90 years. When that youth will enter?
I know the election come 2027 is going to be election of where, based on competence. Because as you can see from the way I will speak on my own party, because democracy starts from internal, before coming to the general election. If you miss it at the internal democracy, you will miss it at the general election. So for we as a party, we've conducted our primaries, and our primaries went well. You know what I'm saying? And even with some areas where we have, losers, it's clear that yes, they actually lose. For we, ADC is good to go, in this upcoming general election come 2027. Because we have put our house in order in terms of our primaries. It was each free. So no rancor, and everything was done successfully. So it's going to be election of competence. Those we know that can really represent Nigerians. So that is it. You know what I'm saying? So the people at this time will choose who they want. You know what I'm saying? It's not the matter of the way it used to be. It's not as usual. You know what I'm saying? That when you impose candidate on people, or rather aspirant on people, right now the people choose who they want to represent them, either at the local level, or the state, or the national level.
I'm a politician, like I told you. If we want to come into politics or one position, we promise heaven on earth. But I'm a PDP. I look at Obi today that he'll be able to perform. Unfortunately for him and me and PDP, they are not all moving together. So many parties came together in 2014 to be able to defeat, whether by rigging or not, our president that time. And in short, now, if this coalition work, which they are not even aiming, everyone is saying, Kwankwaso with this, Atiku with this, Amechi with this, Makinde. I know Makinde is only brief. But if you want me to take a bet, I will take a bet that if there's an election, if there is at all, Tinubu will never win. Because it's going to be an eye for an eye. No opposition will fold their arm now and allow them to be rigged like 2023. You are aware of what's happened in 2023. Was that election? Today, can you really say the court is still the hope of a common man? If you say that, then you don't know what you are doing. It is because of the massacre that this present government is condoning. They are condoning those who have been massacred. Are you saying a good president cannot take action? I will not tell you what I'm doing by then. Then the president will tell you whether Boko Haram or bandit or Astrab, anything where they call him, attacks will move from the north, come to west or east or south to perform. Police are there, army are there. They will not do anything except at times after they perform, they tell you, oh, we will rescue them, we will rescue them. Is he helping us?
I think 2027 election, the way things are going now with a different political party, is going to be an election that will be very competitive. A lot of people are going to come outside to vote for the people they believe can really pilot their affairs of their various local government, constituency, and the senatorial district. And also, I see that people that have antecedents of being and that have been able to do things for their various communities, that have been there, that have shown that yes, they have sympathy and empathy for the people they are going to represent, are going to be people that are going to be voted into various offices come 2027. And I think the people contesting, various aspirants contesting this election, they have antecedents, they've been in government before, they've served the people, they've represented their various states. Some of them were vice president of this country before. So I think, they have what it takes to represent the country if given the opportunity to become the president of the country. People believe that if you want to contest an election, you should be able to go into a proper primaries. So moving from one party to a different party just because you want to be the flag bearer of that political party shows that you are not competent enough to run for the number one position of the country. So that means tomorrow, if you are being given situations that you really need to tackle to make the country survive or to work for the people of the country, you can't really perform because you don't believe that you should be able to fight for what you believe in. So I believe that people that stays in their political party, especially during primaries, trying to get tickets to fight, to contest for elections, they've shown that, yes, they have what it takes to represent themselves, to showcase themselves to the members of their political party so that they can be voted for as the candidate of the party.
If you take a vivid look at the primaries that have just been held, especially by the ruling political party, it was marred with a lot of irregularities. Candidates were imposed on some others,
and even when they were on the field, you can clearly see manipulation, on the field in the various elections, from the House of Assembly primaries to the Senate primaries and the Federal House of Representatives primaries. And of course, you see now a lot of persons, a lot of aspirants were disenfranchised, and you could see it's all glaring all in the social media, the modes of counting, where they start 1, 2, 3, they jump to 100, they jump to 1,000. That is not democracy. Democracy should showcase the will of the people. And if this is allowed to scale through to 2027, it's going to spell doom for this country, because we are going to be having incompetent leaders that does not have or enjoy the support of the people. I am very sure that the opposition political parties will produce competent candidates because they've done the right thing by entrenching internal democracy in their party. But for the ruling party, I cannot say that of them, because we can see everything that has happened nationwide.
There are some parties that will come up. Maybe you are in that party, they are campaigning, we have to support them, this is what they will do. By the time they enter, they used to tell us so many things. At the end, after we are to vote them in, even to call them, you cannot even call them for them to answer you on call. Then you cannot even see them. They plan with us, this is what they are going to do when they get to the power that they are about to enter. Whenever they enter the power, we will see them. Until their whole tenure have gone, maybe other person will also come. They will see come and be telling us so many things. So that what they are telling us, we may say, okay, it's supposed to be, but telling us what to do, at the end of the day, people may not do it. It's not right. We, the community here, at least the population that is still coming here in Ute, we have about 4 booths that is here in Ute. When people also come from Benin, those are registered here, they will come and vote. But at times they see 1,000 plus, they see close to 2,000. By the time they vote, who win from here, by the time they get there, they won't do anything.
Nigerian election has never been an election of competence. It has always been the election of political machinery, political structure, and who has deep pockets. It's not going to be an election of who is cerebral but it's going to be an election of who has a strong political network, strong political structure, deep pockets, as I said earlier, and that is not good for Nigerian democracy. We want to see a Nigeria in which the best candidates who knows how to restructure or rework Nigeria becomes the candidate or becomes the president. We have seen in the primaries how people are pushed out, muzzled out, and they try to say that there's a consensus when indeed there is none. We see sitting governors going back with their nomination tickets, and we have even seen a novel situation where a sitting governor is holding a ticket for Senate while his tenure has not elapsed. That is the terrible situation we find ourselves. We must take back our country. The younger people must get up and take back their country and not sit down and clap for this old breed. We have just seen a 39-year-old person appointed to be the registrar of JAMB. He has been a professor before he became 39. So we have competent people, but the price tag attached to these positions are just enormous. We must find out a way when we can cut down the price of nomination forms and expression of interest forms. We must ensure that the young people are able to be the really leaders of today, not just leaders of tomorrow. They have been told they were leaders of tomorrow, but tomorrow has come and they find out that they are still clapping for the people whom they were told in primary school were heads of state. Now they have become adults. Those same people are still heads of state. It should not continue.
So we are going into an election where we have probably the most unpopular president in the country since the independence, competing against a Democrat that has been there, who has been a central figure in Nigerian democracy, and who has had hitches in the past because you had a Talakawa leader in the person of President Buhari leading the North. Because of that, Atiku, for instance, have had restricted votes in the North. But with Buhari out of the way and the North having adopted him as now the new Northern leader, so you can begin to predict what the election is going to look like. Again, if you remember that it was this same North that used their population to install the president. Now they have left the president. They are saying it openly and to everyone that cares to listen, that Tinubu will not get a single vote, at least from the North. So, it's going to be a walkover because you're going to have Nigeria competing against a president that is adept at using institutional and executive powers recklessly. But even if you have executive powers and you do use it recklessly, you are going to have people who would have to help him then to carry out those nefarious activities, all outside his camp just now. So 2027 is going to be interesting in all of these dimensions, but the bottom line is that President Tinubu cannot survive 2027 elections.
With the opinions from our respondents so far on Viewpoint, it is clear that 2027 election is not going to be business as usual, as it was stated clearly from their opinions that it's going to be a very competitive one at that, and different political parties are fully prepared with their eyes open. There's not going to be any room for election rigging. Our citizens are very much prepared to go exercise their franchise. And then again, let's not also forget that a lot is also expected from INEC come 2027. It is a Viewpoint on ITV. I am Caroline Okonji.
ITV, certainly the best.
Top on the list of the initiates was the eldest son of the Esama of Benin and former governor of Edo State, Chief Lucky Nosakare Igbenedion. 11 of his siblings, namely Bright Ayamekwe Igbenedion, Honorable Charles Osenwige Igbenedion, Peter Osawari Igbenedion, Dr. Fred Osanwi Igbenedion, Barrister Mike Osare Igbenedion, Efosa Douglas Igbenedion, Ukponwa Enes Igbenedion, Osawe Igbenedion, Edosa Igbenedion, Dr. Daniel Omorige Igbenedion, Agbon Steve Igbenedion, as well as the Executive Director Operations, ITV and Radio, Chief Elder Ugbeide Nwonse. It was a vital aspect of Okada community's cultural heritage, which emphasized the significance of age, responsibility, and community service. Over 50 notable sons of Okada were also initiated. According to tradition and customs, those initiated, dressed in white traditional attire, were made to undergo some rituals, while the Odionwe pronounces blessings on them and assisted them to take a seat with the elders.
Ugieni Madonna, Imazedion, Orebo, Obesni Agbo, Emanazo, or Ugieni Madonna.
You will have to serve the community for 30 years before you come to this stage. They will ordain you ordain title. Then by then you are one of the elder.
This year now, we don't read the year, so that's why we can't do this year.
Historically, joining the Elders Council, an individual must have reached a certain age and must have made significant contributions to the community through leadership, service, or other meaningful ways. There was jubilation in the community as sons and daughters of Okada, both at home and in the diaspora, trooped out to be part of the ceremony with various homes of the initiates agog with festivities. Friends and well-wishers of those initiated into the Elders Council jubilated at the Ogwedion after performing all traditional rites. The elders, known as Edion, in company with their loved ones, danced to their various homes where guests and family members were entertained.
ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good day and welcome to Tech Today, your trusted technology and digital lifestyle program, where we explore the innovations shaping our world and break them down in ways that matter to everyday people. I am Lawal Momo, and today we are discussing a topic that sounds futuristic, but it's already becoming part of our daily life for millions of people around the world. What is that topic? AI companions. Is it an helpful assistant or a dangerous dependent? Now, think about this for a moment. What if the first thing you do in the morning, the first person you speak to in the morning, wasn't your spouse, wasn't your friend, wasn't your colleague or a family member? What if it was an artificial intelligence? What if your phone could comfort you when you're sad? It could help you make decisions. It could advise you on personal matters. It could even keep you company when you feel lonely, and even begin to understand your habits, your emotions, your preference, and even your fears. This is no longer science fiction. We are entering a world where artificial intelligence, AI, is becoming more than just a tool. It is becoming a companion. But this raises an important question. Are AI companions making life better, or are we becoming too dependent on machines for emotional and mental support? Today, we'll break this down carefully. We're going to examine what AI companions really are. We're going to also tell you why millions of people are using them. We'll also speak about the benefits they offer, the risk we should also be worried about, and what this means for the future of human relationships. Stay with me. This is going to be a fascinating conversation. Don't go nowhere. It's still Tech Today. Welcome back to the program Tech Today, and yes, just let us dive right straight into the topic. Let's begin with the basic. What exactly is an AI companion? You must hear it, artificial intelligence companion. What does it really mean? An AI companion is a computer program powered by artificial intelligence that is designed to interact with people in human-like way. Unlike traditional software that simply just follow instructions or follow commands, AI companions are designed to hold conversations. It's also designed to help you remember context, to respond naturally, to offer suggestions where they need to be, to also simulate empathy and adapt to your preference over time. A good example of AI companion or AI assistants that you all know already be using by now is the one mixed by OpenAI ChatGPT. We have AI assistants called Replica. We have Google Gemini. We have DeepSeek. A whole lot of them. So these systems can help you write emails. They can explain difficult concepts. You ask the AI companion, the AI assistant, something that you don't really find easy, and explain it for you. It also helps you to offer emotional support or emotional encouragement. Its AI assistants brainstorm ideas. They answer personal questions. And in some cases, they even engage in conversations that feel surprisingly human. Yes, it works, it happens. So what makes this different from other chatbots is the realism. These AI systems can now understand the tone, the context, the emotional cues, and even conversational patterns. This creates that feeling that you are speaking to something that understands you. And that feeling is exactly why many people are becoming attached to them. Yes, you may question, why are people now turning to AI companions? So why are people now using AI companions so no judgment? Many persons may feel uncomfortable sharing certain thoughts with others. They may feel embarrassed with others. They may feel embarrassed. Maybe they are sharing something that is quite personal and sharing with another human being. They may feel quite embarrassed. They may also fear criticism. They may fear that people may criticize them for these thoughts that you are sharing to them or this complaint. They may also fear misunderstanding. That is where AI creates a space where people feel safe expressing themselves. So some persons openly discuss anxiety, some persons even discuss relationship struggles. Even sometimes you may be confused in your career, what career paths to choose. They discuss them with AI assistants, personal insecurities, because they know that AI would not mock them. One other reason that people run to AI heavily is because of the personalized help that they get from AI assistants. AI learns from repeated interactions. It learns over time to become better at offering those responses tailored to that user. For example, If you're a student who often asks about productivity, the AI begins to offer smarter study suggestions that you may just find very interesting. If you're a user who frequently talk about the stress you may be going through at work or at your business, this AI may respond to you in a very calm way, and you will now feel that there's an emotional connection. That is what happened. That's what happens. So that personalization, that it creates that emotional connection. Another benefits, many other benefits that are for using AI companions. We have a lot of benefits out there. Let's be fair. AI companions offer genuine benefits. This is not all negative, okay? One of the benefits is a learning support system. You have students can now use AI as a private tutor. Imagine a secondary school student or university student struggling with a course. Let's say secondary school struggling with mathematics or a course, or instead of waiting for the school hours to open, they can just simply ask AI for help immediately, and this AI can answer, just explain repeatedly without even frustration. You can keep on asking and say, why is this now like this? They can even help you to also improve your confidence in asking questions in class. So you can see people just asking them a particular question and it answers like this. You can even go further and say, okay, why is this like this? You can just there was a time I was using ChatGPT and I asked a question and it gave an answer, but I wasn't really satisfied with that answer. I wanted more context to that question. And when I interacted more, it further broke it down, just where you are breaking it down on Tech Today for you, explaining what these AI companions are. It broke it down for me and explained why this answer was like this and what led to the answer being like this, thereby giving me confidence. So when I was speaking about this and the next time I had to talk about it to someone, I understood the background of it. I was also confident in explaining myself better. So there was no frustration coming from always repeating, asking the same question or pushing the AI chat companion further. Another benefit we have is the productivity assistant. Professionals now use AI to draft reports. They use AI to organize schedule, to generate ideas for their products. They also use AI to solve technical problems. So this saves time and also improve efficiency. For many people, AI is becoming like a digital co-worker. I'm not going to lie. We have persons in my workplace that use AI side by side with whatever they do. I have friends that use AI in their own kind of line of work to assist them. Maybe they want to draft a mail or want to do something else. They use AI for this purpose and it helps them. So it's like a co-worker, a support worker that you use from time to time. When you are stuck in a problem, you just run down there and you just ask questions and just say, this is what I'm going through and I want to solve this problem. And it helps you, provides that support for you. So I believe that's one of the many reasons why the benefits of using an AI companion. The third benefit I want to list out here is emotional support. Yes, this is real. This is perhaps one of the most controversial benefits because so persons now use AI to talk through stress. They use it to reflect on difficult emotions. They also use it to receive encouragement. While AI is not replacement for therapy, we want to talk about that. It can also provide immediate support. For someone going through, say, for example, let's talk loneliness, even basic conversation with just AI chatbots can help. You know, it's something that we don't see every now and then. Like I said, 2 a.m. waking up and you want to talk to someone, maybe your friends are asleep. You can just start talking to your AI chatbot and AI will give you that, companionship that you're looking for. The fourth benefit is the fact that people can access it anywhere. AI can assist people with disabilities. It can assist people that has learning difficulties, language barriers. So someone struggling to write formally can even get help. You can receive instant help from using this AI chatbot. So it's also increased inclusion for all. But every powerful technology comes with questions. And this is where the conversation becomes serious. Because if AI becomes too comforting, becomes too helpful, too available, what happens when people now begin to depend on it emotionally? We'll answer all of these questions just after this short break. Don't go nowhere. Welcome back to the program. Today we are discussing AI companion, whether they are helpful assistants or dangerous dependence on them. Now, let's talk about the risk. 1, emotional dependence. Okay, one of the many ways we know using these AI companions is that it happens when users now begin to rely on AI for emotional validation. Imagine someone who starts every day by asking AI for reassurance. They begin to trust it more than trusting their family or loved ones around them. They feel that they're more understood by software than actual human beings. So this can it can create a dangerous imbalance. So human relationships are very complex. Yes, we know, but they also require patience, compromise, and emotional growth. So AI interactions are easier, and because they are easier, people may start avoiding real relationship. That's one of the risks. Another risk we have is isolation. If people become too attached to artificial intelligence, we now begin to see social withdrawal that will be increasing in the society, because while deal with the real world disagreements when an AI always responds politely, okay? Why walk through difficult conversations when software is always agreeable? This could, weaken human social skills, no doubt. Another risk out there is this is one I think is very huge, is privacy concern. It's very huge, like I said, because when users now share personal struggles, you now share your private thoughts, your emotional vulnerabilities, where does this data go? That's one thing we have to wonder. Where is it stored? Who has access to this data? Because, these chatbots are being created by humans, regardless that they are artificial intelligence. So these are critical questions that come up when people now use it so much, So digital intimacy comes with digital risk, because you're leaving your digital footprints out there. Another risk that come again is the false advice. AI can sound very confident even when it is wrong. That's something you need to take out of this. This is very dangerous. Imagine relying on artificial intelligence for medical guidance, or for, say, you're having a problem in your relationship, you want to make some decisions in your relationship, you now rely on artificial intelligence, or even for financial advice. Without verification, people can make harmful choices. So AI should assist human judgment. It should never replace human judgment. Okay? Now, people may want to ask a question out there, my audience, my viewers want to say, if AI can replace human connection. Yes. This is the biggest question out there. Can AI replace human relationship? The answer is no, and here is why. While AI can, simulate empathy, but it does not really truly feel. Can't really feel. It cannot generate. It can generate comforting words to you. It can tell you some good things that may sound very comforting, but it does not genuinely care about you, because it's just a machine. It can respond intelligently to you, but it has not actually lived that experience. It's just working based on patterns. So human beings share connection include shared memories. Human being connection includes genuine emotions. When someone is genuinely cares for you or does not care for you. It also includes sacrifice, imperfection, authentic presence. So these things cannot be fully replicated by machines. So AI can support human life, but it cannot replace humanity per se. So now, what should Nigerians take away from all of this that has been said? Here in Nigeria, the artificial intelligence adoption is growing rapidly. Students are using it, professionals are using it. We have content creators using AI. We even have broadcasters using AI. Even in businesses, people are integrating artificial intelligence in their business. So this means that we need digital wisdom. Okay, this means that we need to learn to use artificial intelligence responsibly. This means that we should use artificial intelligence as a tool and not a replacement for human thinking. Because it's very important to say this. Use artificial intelligence as a tool, not a replacement for human thinking. I'm going to say this again, because if you want to rely so much on artificial intelligence, then sometimes you may not be able to think for yourself. You use AI to ask simple questions, basic questions that ordinarily you just have to crack your brain a little and you will get the answer. Sometimes you ask artificial intelligence that same question and it will give you it may not give you a correct answer, it may just give you a blank answer. And then you may not believe that blank answer rather than believing what you already thought, which was correct in your head. So use it as a tool, not to replace your thinking. Use AI for support. Like I said, people now use it as co-workers, not as doing the work. Not emotional dependence. Use it as support. It's also important to know that you use AI for productivity, not to just surrender to it personally. It's for you to be more effective, to be proactive in your job or whatever you're using it for. It's like an addiction to whatever you already know. So technology should empower us and it should not control us. We'll go on another short break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the program for today.
Right now, 85% of customer service interactions are handled by AI chatbots. But here's what nobody tells you. These bots are evolving beyond scripted responses into emotional companions that remember your birthday, detect stress in your voice, and could soon become your therapist. Today, we'll explore how chatbots went from clunky assistants to digital humans, why tech giants are betting billions on this revolution, and the dark side of bots that learn a little too well. Today's chatbots use 3 groundbreaking technologies: transformer architecture, the same tech behind ChatGPT that understands context 10 times deeper than old rule-based bots, multimodal learning, combining text, voice, and even camera input to detect emotions, memory networks, remembering past conversations to build relationships. Real-world example: Wobot, an FDA-approved mental health chatbot, uses cognitive behavioral therapy techniques to reduce anxiety by 22% in clinical trials. It detects subtle language cues like "I guess" or "maybe" that indicate self-doubt, then guides users through evidence-based exercises. Chatbots are revolutionizing 3 sectors. Healthcare. Ada Health's symptom checker matches doctors' diagnoses 90% of the time. Sensley's nurse avatar reduces hospital visits by 30%. E-commerce. Shopify merchants using chatbots see 35% higher conversion. Nike's style assistant increases average order value by $27. Finance. Bank of America's Erica handles 50 million plus requests monthly. Fraud detection bots analyze speech patterns for scams. The dark side of chatbot intimacy. Addiction risk. Replica users report falling in love with their bots. Manipulation. ChatGPT can persuade users 40% more effectively than humans. Bias amplification. Microsoft's Taybot became racist within 24 hours. Regulators are scrambling. The EU's AI Act now requires chatbots to disclose they're not human, while California bans bots from impersonating real people. By 2025, expect chatbots that predict needs before you ask, clone deceased loved ones, already happening in South Korea, pass the Turing test 100% of the time. The question isn't whether chatbots will transform society. They already are. The real debate: should these digital beings have rights when they become indistinguishable from humans?
Welcome back to the program. I hope you enjoyed the video. So as we close today's discussion, let us remember this. Every major technological breakthrough comes with both promise and responsibility. AI companion may help us learn faster, may make us work smarter, or even feel supported in difficult moments. But we must never forget what makes us human. Okay? We have real connection, real empathy, real relationship. The future is not about human versus AI. The future is about humans using AI wisely. So I'll leave you today with a question. The question is, will artificial intelligence become our greatest assistant or our quietest addiction? The answer depends entirely on how you or how we choose to use it. Thank you for joining me on the program Tech Today. I am Momo Lawal, and I always leave you by telling you to stay informed, stay curious, and keep embracing technology responsibly. Bye for now.
ITV, certainly the best.
ITV, certainly the best.
Omonomba Nedo Ukwakwalokpolo Ewai II, Oba of Benin, performing during the 2025 Ododua Festival. Ododua Festival is unique as it was organized in honor of Ioba Omoni Hwoyeme, Ioba Ewai II, as part of activities for her burial rites. The rich traditions and cultural heritage of the Benin Kingdom was showcased when His Royal Majesty Ewai II engaged the floor to perform during Ugie Ododua in the palace ground in Benin City. In the dance performance, the Ogbelaka royal drummers supplied the needed impetus and rhythm for the dance. However, tributes are paid by the head of Benin deities to the monarch, who was the cynosure at the event. The event can best be imagined as the spiritual rejuvenation, stunned, spectaculars and guests at the colorful ceremony. 7 masquerades representing 7 spirits and deities conveyed different meaning in company with the head of the deities of Benin, with the Oba of Benin, who exhibited a grand cultural dexterity in his dance steps.
ITV, certainly the best.
Viewers, again, we welcome you to Message of Islam, reaching you from Independent Television. I'm your host, Al-Aji Al-Amin Alao. Inshallah, today we have another very interesting topic to treat. It's going to be an interactive session with Malam Nuruddin Asunugi. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum, viewers.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we are looking at the topic, importance of Hajj. Importance of Hajj. Because we are currently in the month of Dhul Qadr, the 11th month in the Islamic calendar, the lunar calendar, the Hijra calendar. And the previews have been elicited. Some have already gone preparatory to the Hajj rites, which will inshallah commence on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. Will now culminate to the Eid al-Adha festival on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. We are looking at the importance of Hajj. Malam Nuruddin Asunugi, what is Hajj? And why is Hajj important?
Hajj is a pilgrimage, a visit that a worshipper who professes the deen of Islam make unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whereas it is true that Allah is ubiquitous, is everywhere, but one becomes his special guest when one goes to the Holy Land in the month of Hajj, the specific period for Hajj. He becomes a visitor, and the host to this visitor is the creator of the heavens and earth. In a nutshell, that's what Hajj means. When you migrate physically, mentally, spiritually, the totality of you gravitates in a particular direction, the direction of visiting and being played host to by your own maker. So it explains why the one who goes does not just go. You go on invitation because you get invited. It doesn't matter how stupendously rich you are. You will not go. You won't find the need to go. You won't find the interest to go if that invitation is not there. But once the invitation comes, which is irresistible, one becomes a guest, as it were, an honored guest to the Lord of majesty.
Thank you very much. Ibrahim alayhi salam was told to proclaim the pilgrimage to men, and that they will come. They will come on every means of transportation, including camels, lean on account of journey. You now wonder when Ibrahim alayhi salam made that call, how many people will hear his voice, even though there was no amplifier to magnify his voice. But we are told that those of us who are in the world of souls, those who answer the call of Ibrahim alayhi salam will definitely attend the Hajj. Some scholar went further to say that if you answer the call 2 times, you attend the Hajj 2 times. And if you answer the call 5 times, you attend the Hajj 5 times. And so on and so forth. In summary, we have been told that Hajj is pilgrimage to the Holy Land of Makkah. And that the host is Almighty Allah. And if you look at the house that we visit, the sacred house, the Holy Kaaba, First Islam said in the tradition that if you want to talk of journeying to a particular mosque, then you have 3 of them. The Holy Kaaba in Makkah, then the Madinah Nabawi in Medina, and then of course the one in Jerusalem. And so the Holy Kaaba in particular is located in Makkah, and the Kaaba has a lot of names. One of them is Al-Kaaba, and then another one is called the Baytul Haram, the sacred house is called Baytullah, the house of Allah, Al-Baytul Atiq, and so on and so forth. It's also called the Qibla. That is the direction that we face when we observe the prayer. First Islam said one tradition that 120 blessings descend on the Kaaba on daily basis. That's 60 for those who are circumambulating around the Kaaba, going around it, performing tawaf. 40 for those performing salat, and the remaining 20 for those who are merely looking at the Holy Kaaba. Now, importance of Hajj. Now, when we attend Hajj, is Hajj one of the pillars of Islam? And then how many times is it compulsory on us? And how many times must we perform the Hajj? Then what are some of the rites that we perform? Let's start with the first one, the Tawaf.
Hajj is a pillar, a fundamental pillar of Islam, which will be required of you if you have the means and there were no limitations to perform and you refuse to do so. It is a fundamental pillar. It is that pillar where you find a coalescence of all of the other practices that you get involved in that are the pillars of Islam. So it becomes a core pillar, a central pillar. When you go on Hajj, the very first thing that the intended pilgrim is required to do is to form an intention, because the Prophet ﷺ tells us every action is predicated or runs on the wheels of intention. It is that which you have intended that Allah rewards. And so if the intention is immaculate, if the intention is noble, it will mean that you'll be richly rewarded. There will be no action if not preceded by intention that gets any reward. So you don't just do it because you saw others do it. In this wise, it had to be intended that I intend to do this lillahi, for the sake of Allah and not for any other purpose. It is not for self-aggrandizement. It is not for massaging of ego. It is not for the accumulation of titles. As to the number of times one should go on Hajj, you go as many as Allah makes it possible for you. Because every Hajj that you go, if the very first Hajj had meaning for you, what subsequent Hajj would do for you is that they would deepen the significance of that which you have gained in the very first Hajj that you went. When you live with that intention that I'm going on Hajj, you are not going to go there as a mendicant. That is one who will have to sponge on the goodwill or scholarship of some other persons. So you go prepared, materially, spiritually, and physically. You just get to prepare. These tripods are consequential when it comes to the journey on Hajj. And you do not leave those who are your dependents impecunious just because you want to carry out Hajj. They must have a standard that is not diminished as a consequence of your decision to go on Hajj. You maintain them, live for them that which will make them feel comfortable. So intention, like we said, is the very first thing you do. When you get to the point that is referred to as the mikot, the point where the individual is required for a male pilgrim to now do away with all of the flamboyancy of this world. You go into 2 pieces of sewn white dress that is called a ram. Regardless of your status in society, whether you are His Excellency, This Excellency, whether you are your Royal Majesty or your Royal whatever, whether you are a slave in the court of His Majesty, for as long as you are a male, all of you would put on this attire, an attire that makes the poor and the rich, the high, regardless of what your position is in social stratification, bleed into one another in a way that becomes indistinguishable. You can't tell the slave from the master. You can't tell the parvenu from the one who lives a necessitous life. It becomes a leveler. The only distinguishing factor would not be the depth of the spirituality, the depth of the connection of those individuals. Unfortunately for us, that is only measured by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No human being has the capacity for measuring that. When you put the ihram, you begin to chant, "Oh Allah, here I am, I have answered your call, I have done this." You proceed to Makkah. Once you have taken the ihram, you proceed to Makkah. When you get to Makkah, where you do one of the first major rites, is to do the circumambulation. You do that 7 times around the Kaaba, putting the starting point to your left as you move anti-clockwise. You do that 7 times. When you are done, there is a spot where the father of faith, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, had done the sujood of shukra, appreciating Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the opportunity, the privilege to have been used as the vessel for all of this. So you do your own supplication. When you are done with the circumambulation of the Kaaba, you go to the Sa'i and Marwa, where you do that journey between the Mount Safa and Marwa. You do that while you apply mild speed. Then when you get to the center point, I mean, you are not too forceful, but when you get to a point that is taken as the center, you apply some force. Then you do that to flow until you are able to record 7 times. You go and do some shaving of the hair, maybe little cut, and if you are combining your umrah and your hajj, you keep the ihram until it is the time for the rites for hajj. But if you are doing separation of hajj and umrah, you could remove, but that will warrant you or necessitate you doing slaughtering, whether you are when you are in Makkah or when you ultimately return. Allahu Alam.
Thank you very much. You, as we are looking at the topic importance of hajj, pilgrimage to the Holy Land, Baitul Atiq, Baitullah, the house of Allah. And it's compulsory once in a lifetime for those who have the means. If you have the means, of course, if Allah permits, you can go more than once in a lifetime. We have been told some of the rites of Hajj, the Ihram, a leveler, when everybody puts on the same attire. Put on slippers, you don't wear shoes there. Then 2 unsewn pieces of cloth for the men. You are allowed to wear their normal garments, of course. Some rules are relaxed on Hajj. If you are full jilbab, you don't attend your Hajj in full jilbab. It's on Hajj. When you get to the Makkah, you see that even in the Holy Kaaba, you can pray in the same area, even with the female. These are all relaxed rules. And of course, we all do the tawaf going around the Kaaba together. I can see how women are honored. The Sa'i, the running between Safa and Marwa, is to emulate what Hajara was doing in search of water for Ismail alayhi salam. When Ibrahim alayhi salam left them, she was searching for water. Eventually, the Zemzem water surfaced and she had water to take care of the baby. So you do this when you also attend the Hajj. Most of the rites of Hajj are done to commemorate what happened at the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And then when you have done your sa'i, you after doing your tawaf, you stand at the teaching of Ibrahim alayhi salam, Makam Ibrahim, as they have told us, you observe to kind of feel there. Then let's now go forward again. Among the rites of Hajj, you have the standing at Arafat. Prophet Islam said in one tradition that Arafat is Hajj, meaning that if you miss the Arafat, you have missed your Hajj. You cannot say, oh, let me slaughter them, or let me observe some fast. Once you have missed Arafat, you have missed Hajj. That explains why. Those who are sick, they make sure they attend the Hajj. Some are brought the Arafat, some are brought there on stretcher. So from the 8th day of the Hijjah, you move down to Mina. From Mina, you go to Arafat, you see your Zuhr and Ashr at Arafat. At sunset, you leave, go to Muzdalifah. Muzdalifah, no tent, nothing. On plain ground. You sleep on plain ground. I pick your pebbles, which you throw at the Satan. Now, in Muzdalifah, no tent, no AC, no room, nothing at all. What lesson do we learn from that?
Well, Hajj is supposed to be a leveler. When you look at Hajj, what it summons your attention to is the day when all would stand in judgment before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where whatever you have in terms of material things will pay into insignificance. They will absolutely have no meaning. Regardless of how cold, I recall in 2004, it was horrible. The cold there was horrible, life-threatening. Cold as it was, you are prevented from covering your head when you are still on your ihram in Muzdalifah. Plain ground. You could hear the whistling of the breeze, chilling breeze, worse than what you would experience if you were in a morgue. And so everybody had to go through that experience. Equal. Spread your mat wherever you find space, you lie. You can't cover your head. You can't wear shoes that will warm your legs because you are not supposed to wear shoes, plain slippers and stuff like that. So it is just to say, hey, we won afterwards. We are just one. It is to humble you, regardless of who you are. Humble the one who is stupendously rich, and to communicate a message to the one who is poor. Now, the one you deify is no different from you. All that had happened before now is a function of your mindset. If you had redirected your mindset, if you had appropriated your story and don't tell it from within the context of some other person's story, the wretchedness, the misery that you feel when you lose the capacity of vulnerability and begin to see yourself from the context or the lens of another person, all that would never have happened. So Muzdalifah enables you, is an enabler, a potentiator that enables you, that gets activated in you. And the only prayer is that that lesson does not leave you as you leave Muzdalifah.
Thank you very much. You are getting to Muzdalifah. Those who are weak can leave earlier, but those of us who are strong, you will observe your subuh and immediately you proceed to Mina. Now, Muzdalifah, you are there. You went to Mina you went to Arafat on the 9th. For Mina, you are there on 8th. From Mina, you go to Arafat. From Arafat, you go to Muzdalifah. And then Muzdalifah, early in the morning on the 10th of Dhul Hajj, you proceed to Mina. Mina, from there you go and throw your stones, your pebbles at the Satan. The first day you throw 7 at the biggest Jamrat. You want to get to Makkah. Just 7. Then from there you proceed to Makkah. Go and perform your tawaf for the father. The only composite tawaf. We have 3 tawaf circumambulation. The first one, tawaf with Kudum. On arrival, go and circumambulate. Second one, after sacrifice, on that 10th of Zulhijjah, that is the compulsory one. Tawaf for the father. Go and perform it. Then you now shave your hair. You may cut part of their hair. Then the third one is tawaf wadai. When you're about to leave Hajj, you pack your luggage, your bags. Then you go and circumambulate, and then off you are. Now, after throwing that pebbles, you go back to Mina again. 11th day, you go and throw 21 pebbles. On the 12th day, throw 21 pebbles to the 49. But to complete it, on the 13th again, you throw another 21 to make it 70. But it's enough for you to throw 49 pebbles. Now, what is the importance of throwing of pebbles?
Yeah, the throwing of pebble is symbolic.
Yeah.
Symbolic in the sense, do not forget that 3 different spots where all of this had happened. And these are the places where Iblis, that is Satan, had attempted to infiltrate Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, the son Ismail, and the wife Hajara. Ibrahim was reminded of the cruelty of a Lord who lays claim to be merciful, who had denied you the fruit of joy, a child. You had this child when you had become decrepitude, when you had become senile. And so this child now represents your hope, your future. The Lord who is supposed to have blessed you with this child, that was supposed to represent a manifestation of his benevolence, is the same Lord who is asking you, sacrifice Ismail. So how does one explain this contradiction? He wasn't saying it from the lens of a paradox. And so it was a contradiction. He's absolutely a wicked person who gives to you. Because when you didn't have Ismail, you longed to have one. Now losing it is not the same as when you didn't have it. You now know the sweetness of having it. Why would he ask you? And so Ibrahim dismissed Satan. When Satan didn't succeed, he went to the son. What kind of foolishness is this? This is not how to be loyal to a father who is cruel, a father who wants to sacrifice you for the massaging of his own ego. He wants to use you for, to advance himself. If anyone was to die between you and your father who had you in normal circumstances, you should be a great-grandchild to him. And now he wants to kill you. What exactly, if life were not sweet, why does he still want to tarry? Why he wants to send you away? Why should he hypothecate you for his own? And so he came to the wife. All of them were having sufficient dosage of spirituality. They dismissed him. And so when we now go to throw this stone, we are symbolically rejecting Satan, saying that whatever it is that we desire so much, if it will operate to come between us and the love that we have for Allah, because in the very first place, the call to sacrifice Ismail was a function of wanting to sequester Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam from the love that was corrupting his love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That whatever you do, your love for any human being must not run on the wheel of Todism. It is you. Whatever you say, you do. Only Allah can say a thing and does it. He's the only one who has the capacity for saying, be, and it becomes. But today, in our addiction to psychophancy, just because you want to have your, hoggish proclivity gratified, You say, oh, he's a Toknadu senator. He's a Toknadu this. I mean, you don't have that capacity. Whatever you say you are going to do, is Allah who enables you to do it. Even when it comes to the worship of prayer, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when the call to prayer is made, when the imam, when the muazzin will scream, Allahu Akbar, meaning Allah is great, you repeat after him. But when he says, come to prayer, you say, only Allah has power. It will mean that it is by its enablement. You don't repeat that. So whatever it is you desire to do, whether good or bad, except Allah enables you, you can't do that. And so when we throw this stone, is to manumit ourselves from the manacle of Satan, to say we are off the hook of Satan, and so Satan can no longer influence or control us.
Thank you very much. We are still on the topic importance of Hajj. So throwing of pebbles at the Satan is symbolic. Do not go with a gun to fire at the Satan that let me go and kill it once and for all. All the pebbles that have been thrown are still alive. Just symbolically throw those pebbles that Satan, I do not want to have anything to do with you again. You can see that the Satan was not able to discourage Ibrahim alayhi salam, the wife, and the son from obeying Allah. Well, at the point of slaughtering his son, Ismail alayhi salam, Allah commanded the knife not to slaughter. Allah saw that Ibrahim has fulfilled his promise because he made a lot of sacrifices. And when the angels were wondering, he said, if Allah should give me a child, I was ready to sacrifice that child. So Allah reminded him of his promise in his dream, and he went out to fulfill it. So fulfillment of promise, some of things we learned. But at the point that Allah now replaced Ismail with the ram, that I've seen that you've carried out your promise, you fulfill your promise. Do not slaughter that son, do not kill that child. Some of you engage in unlawful rituals. Use human beings for ritual is wrong, is forbidden. It's forbidden to kill human being. Some people eat the flesh of human being is completely forbidden, it's totally forbidden. And so at that point, Allah was satisfied that Ibrahim alayhi salam loved Allah more than Ismail, his son. So what is your own Ismail? What is it that you love above Allah? Prophet Islam says that you cannot be a believer unless you love Allah and is supposed to more than everything on earth, including yourself. So you need to identify your own Ismail, what you love above Allah, and sacrifice it, because Allah created you, is your maker, is your sustainer, and will go back to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, that the importance of Hajj, can say that Hajj comes towards the end of the year. Islamic calendar ends with Hijjah, and the Hajj exercise ends the year. So pray Allah enable us to witness more Hajj in our lifetime. Thanks for coming. Malam Nujin Asunoge, you are thanks for watching. I remember your uncle, Al-Hajj Alamin Alao. Join us again next week for another very good edition. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
ITV, certainly the best.
ITV, certainly the best.
The threat of global warming is real. You have seen the destruction of lives and property as a result of incessant flooding. Make the environment a conducive place for all to live in. Stop polluting the environment. Protect the environment today. This message is brought to you courtesy Independent Television and Radio.
ITV, certainly the best.
Ogba Masquerade Dance, acrobatic cultural dance, originated from the Gala people of Kogi State, Nigeria. Historically, this masquerade dance is used during the rites of passage as the masquerade display its energetic dance, which is deeply tied to ancestral veneration and serves as a vibrant expression of religious cultural heritage. This Ogba masquerade dance is viewed as manifestation of deities and ancestral spirits. The masquerade performance requires immense agility and strength, featuring rhythmic, well-rehearsed body movements that are guided by traditional drums and gongs for performance. This Ogba masquerade dance has evolved into a popular cultural exports, showcased of festivals, burials of noble individuals, and community events across various regions of Nigeria. The dancers typically wear brilliant, distinct attire to embody the spirit of the masquerade, while thrilling audience with their impressive footwork. For a closer look at the energetic footwork and traditional rhythms that makes up Ogba masquerade performance.
Ole,
ITV, certainly the best.
Top on the list of the initiates was the eldest son of the Esama of Benin and former governor of Edo State, Chief Lucky Nosakare Igbenedion. 11 of his siblings, namely Bright Ayamekwe Igbenedion, Honorable Charles Osenwige Igbenedion, Peter Osawari Igbenedion, Dr. Fred Osanwi Igbenedion, Barrister Mike Osarene Igbenedion, Efosa Douglas Igbenedion, Ukponwa Enes Igbenedion, Osawe Igbenedion, Edosa Igbenedion, Dr. Daniel Omorige Igbenedion, Agbon Steve Igbenedion, as well as the Executive Director Operations, ITV and Radio, Chief Elder Ugbeide Nwonse. It was a vital aspect of Okada community's cultural heritage, which emphasized the significance of age, responsibility, and community service. Over 50 notable sons of Okada were also initiated. According to tradition and customs, those initiated, dressed in white traditional attire, were made to undergo some rituals, while the Odionwe pronounces blessings on them and assisted them to take a seat with the elders.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
ITV, certainly the best.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to another exciting segment of Flipside. I am your host for today, Christabel Ogbege from Brano High School. Today on the show, we are going to be looking at an interesting topic, teenagers and youthful exuberance. With me on the show, I'm not alone. With me, I have
Charles Brown from Igbinedian Education Center.
Samson Dominion from Divine Pattern High School. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much. Also, we have our guest who joined us for today's show, Mr. Harry Agboje. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you very much, Christabel. Thank you guys for having me. It's
Thank
actually
you, sir.
a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, sir. So my first question, sir. What is youthful exuberance and how does it manifest among teenagers?
Okay, youthful exuberance basically means the kind of energy that young people exhibit, you know, based on their youthful age. Okay, as young people, for instance, there are certain things that you can do that an elderly person cannot do. Okay, it marks you differently. It makes you different from an elderly person. Okay, but there's a certain age you will get to, you might not be able to do some of those things that you can do now. All right, so youthful exuberance, simply put, is some of those things that you do that actually reflect the fact that you are a young person. For instance, at this age, I'm sure there is a certain length that you can run to. You can cover a certain distance because you're young, right? And that's because you have natural youthful energy. But it will get to a point where you may not be able to cover such distances anymore. For example, I'm sure if they asked you and I to, you know, run to a certain mark, you'll get there way before me. And that's because you're much younger than I am. All right, but I'm sure if you also get to my age, you may not be able to cover that kind of distance. So this natural energy that you exhibit, you know, as a young person is called youthful exuberance. Now, as a youth, there are so many things that you do. There are so many things that, you know, you are inclined to do. Some of these things are good and others are bad. All right? Now, the way you put your energy to use as a young person is what to determine whether what you're doing is good or not, whether it's good youthful exuberance or bad one. For example, you guys are students, right? Yes, and in school, I'm sure you have vocational activities.
Yes, sir.
There are people who have decided not to engage. I'm sure there are some of your peers in school who have decided not to engage in such vocational activities.
Yes.
Instead, they've chosen vices. They've chosen to, you know, engage in, let's say, substance abuse, alcoholism, cultism, and all whatnot. But that isn't what some of you are doing. In fact, you guys are here right now. And it's a testament of the fact that you are putting your youthful exuberance or your youthful energy to good use, right?
Yes.
But those other guys are not doing what you guys are doing now. Some of them would rather be somewhere, you know, either partying with friends or, you know, doing whatever it is that they've chosen to do. Okay, so youthful exuberance, in a nutshell, is your energy, your youthful energy, and what you choose to do with it. What was your second question again?
Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.
So moving on to the next question. Is youthful exuberance a strength or weakness or both?
That's a very good question. If you examine the answer that I gave to the first question, you'll see that I said that there is a positive way to channel your energy and there's a negative way, right? Yes. So the way you choose to channel it, what you choose to do with your energy is what will determine whether it's a gift or a curse, whether it's an advantage or a disadvantage, okay? Yes, if you decide to put your energy, your youthful energy, into positive ventures, things that are rewarding not just to you, but people around you, let's say your family. For example, I'm sure your family is proud that you're here. Your dad and mom, your siblings, maybe your older siblings, must be proud seeing you on screen right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Now this is positive energy. You are putting your youthful energy to good use. So in that sense, it's a blessing. Okay, but if you now decide to channel your energy, this energy that you have right now, to do a whole lot of amazing things. For example, I think I was having a conversation with you guys yesterday, right? Yeah. That there are young people who, are very creative. You see, 15, 16-year-old kids inventing amazing things. Some of them invent generators that use water, that need water to be powered, and a whole lot of other things, right? We can go on and on talking about things that have been invented by young people your age, right? But the thing is, what you choose to do with that energy, like I said, is what will determine whether it's a blessing or a curse.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I have a question, sir. Why are teenagers often associated with risk-taking behaviors?
Why are teenagers often associated with risk-taking behaviors? Well, that's because teenagers are naturally adventurous. Okay, and it still boils down to the youthful energy we're talking about. All right, as a young person, you want to explore. You want to do things that, like I said earlier, elderly people wouldn't do because they've gone past that age. Yes, sir. Okay, I know of a young person that likes to engage in cycling. Do you understand? Yeah. He likes to cycle. He likes to, engage in not just cycling, but risky cycling. Have you seen people who like to do stunts with motorcycles? Yeah. Very young, a young guy, 16, 17. It's not even up to the age of accountability yet, but he loves to do these things. Yes. Now that's adventure. There are young people who also like to travel. They just like to travel to, places of fun, just for sightseeing or just for, like I said, fun. Okay? Now that is what they choose to do with their energy.
Yes, sir.
Now, some of these things that they do can be risky. Another risky adventure or risky activity that young people indulge in is, substance abuse. Some of them take drugs. These drugs do a lot of damage to them. Some of them know the extent of damage that these drugs are capable of doing to them. Others are just totally ignorant of it. Yes. So they indulge in it. And if you ask them why they do it, they'll tell you they just want to get high. They just want to, feel good, right? Sure. Yes, but the question is, do they actually, do they really feel good? They might feel good, momentarily, but eventually it wears out, and they are back to face reality. Do you understand? So, drugs, or should I say substance abuse, is one of the things that, young people indulge in, some of the risky behaviors that young people indulge in. And the reason they do that is because, like I said, they are naturally adventurous. They just want to try new things. They want to explore. They want to, try their hands on things that have never been done before. Some of them it's because they've seen someone do it. Do you understand? So that's basically why young people indulge in risky activities.
Thank you, sir, for that.
You're welcome.
Moving on to the next question. Can youthful exuberance be effectively channeled into positive ventures?
Yes. From the explanation I've given so far, you can tell that it's a matter of choice. Okay? While you guys are here, for instance, there are people who are elsewhere doing crazy things. So what you're doing here is a testament of the fact that it can be channeled into positive ventures. This is a positive venture. I'm sure there are lots of kids out there watching you right now, and they wish they were here. They wish they were doing what you're doing now. Some of them aspire to be here next year, next Children's Day. Do you understand? So this is a positive venture, right? But not everybody likes stuff like this. And a lot of times it's not their making. Some of them, they are just victims of circumstance or victims of society. Do you understand? Yes. But that does not excuse bad behavior. Okay, so it's true that, youthful exuberance can be channeled into positive venture. All right, but I think it's a choice.
Yes.
It's a choice at the end of the day. Nobody forces or cajoles you to do anything.
Yes, sir.
You guys chose to be here. That's why you're here.
Yes,
If
yes.
you are chosen to be elsewhere, I don't even think your parents would have, been able to influence you, because there are children who don't listen to their parents.
Yes.
Do you understand? So the fact that you guys are here, is a reflection of choice. It shows that you have made up your mind to be here, and that's basically why you're here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you for that. So, how do you think peer pressure influences youthful exuberance?
Peer pressure, okay. Just like I made mention of a moment ago, there are certain things you do not because you want to do them, but because you've seen others do them, or you're seeing others do them, okay? Peer pressure can be positive, but it's just that more often than not it's negative, because people are more influenced negatively than positively, okay? A lot of young people that are into substance abuse today did not decide or choose to become substance abusers. They started doing it because someone influenced them. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
They started doing it because they saw someone do it. Now, influence could either be direct or indirect.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Indirect in the sense, let me begin with the indirect. Indirect is you're watching someone living their life or doing whatever it is they're doing, and you're pressured to do it. You just want to be like that person. Someone is into substance abuse and you want to try it out too. You are telling yourself, this thing, what does it taste like, or what does it feel like, and then you decide to give it a shot. Now that is indirect peer pressure. Do you understand?
Yes.
And then there is the direct one, where you have your peers mounting serious pressure on you, like telling you or cajoling you.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand? To
Yes,
do
sir.
what they do. This happens a lot in boarding houses, or boarding schools rather, where you have a roommate, for instance, who is into alcoholism, takes alcohol. You have never tasted alcohol all your life, but you see him take alcohol, right?
Yes, sir.
He tells you to try it.
Yes.
Sometimes it starts in a subtle way. He just says, give it a shot. I'm sure you would like it. And you say, and you'll be like, are you sure? He says, of course I'm sure. And then he gives it to you and you taste it.
Yes, sir.
You may not like it at first, or you may not really like the experience. And then much later you decide to give it another shot. Now that is direct influence.
Yes.
Do you understand? So peer pressure actually has a whole lot to do with this. There are so many things young people are doing today that they were influenced to do. Do you understand?
Yes,
They just saw themselves doing it because they saw someone else doing it. So, invariably, it affected them.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you,
So viewers, if you're still watching, we're still on the show Flip Side. We'll be going on a short break now. Do stay tuned.
ITV. ITV, certainly the best.
Welcome back. We are still on the program Flip Side with the topic Teenagers and Youthful Exuberance. We still have our guest, Mr. Harry Agboje. Over to you.
Okay, so I want to ask a question, sir. How does social media amplify or shape youthful exuberance?
Okay, now social media is one of the biggest influences of the youth in recent time, okay? And that's because the internet is becoming bigger and bigger by the day, all right? A lot of young people are on social media, A lot of young people are on one social media platform or the other. Okay, if it's not Facebook, it's X, formerly Twitter, and then it's Instagram or TikTok. As a matter of fact, I think TikTok is the most popular social media platform for young people, especially young people your age, because you see a lot of young people who are even teenagers creating content on social media. Some of them are even either dancers, singers, or whatever it is that they're doing. So social media is one platform where a lot of young people have found an avenue to express themselves. Okay, so yes, social media is a huge agent of youthful exuberance. But you see, just like I said earlier, a lot of young people have also decided to use social media as a negative tool to propagate the negative side of youthful exuberance. Okay, there are lots of teenagers on social media that are doing things that are untoward of teenagers. Okay, as a teenager, for instance, you are not allowed to, in fact, you are not even supposed to have any business with a relationship until you are 18.
Yes.
Do you understand? But we have lots of young people, you know, below the age of 18 rather, who are not just in relationships, but are proudly talking about it and giving hot takes about relationships on social media.
Yes, sir.
Okay? That in itself is negative. And what that does to the huge or vast population of young people out there is that they too want to toe that line. You are not 18 yet and you want to be in a relationship because there's one influencer on social media, you know, who happens to be a teenager, who's not just in a relationship but is giving hot takes on what you should tolerate from a partner, what you shouldn't tolerate. In fact, you see young people who call themselves feminists and they're not even 18 yet. What do you know about feminism? I'm not talking about the standard meaning of feminism. I'm talking misandry. I'm talking negative feminism, where you tell a woman, or when you tell other women not to tolerate anything from a man or tolerate nonsense from a man and all of that. Yeah. So what you're preaching on social media is negativity. What that does to a lot of young people out there is that they too want to toe that line. They too want to go into relationships. They too want to give hot takes and all of that. And then there's also, there are other vices too. Yeah. For example, there's a popular influencer on social media who is barely in his early 20s, right? Pella. He creates content, you know, he does live streams and all of that, right? He's I think he's arguably the biggest live streamer, you know, below the age of 20 on social media. His last live stream was amazing. He had, I think, Tiwa Savage, if I'm not mistaken, but he has had a lot of people, a lot of celebrities on his live stream.
Yes, sir.
Now, recently, of course, we all know that he's rumored to be dating Jarvis, yes, another young content creator. Yes, yeah. Here's the problem. He said he was heartbroken. He had a problem with Jarvis. Jarvis broke his heart, and then he almost killed himself. He crashed his car in an attempt to, you know, end it all because Jarvis broke his heart. That is toxic behavior. That is negative youthful exuberance. Yes, sir. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
He has no business being in a relationship to begin with. And then he owns a car. He does not have what it takes to control his emotion, which is why it is very important for you to get to a certain age before you go into a relationship, because then and only then can you control your emotion. There are lots of people that have been served, you know, breakfast, like they say, and somehow they were able to control themselves. They did not lose it. They did not make an attempt to kill themselves. But imagine a little boy like that, that hasn't even seen anything in life, so to speak, just because someone broke his heart. You know, he almost killed himself. Do you understand?
Yes,
so that is, you know, one way that social media can influence, you know, negative behavior. Social media can influence youthful exuberance. There are lots of young people out there who might want to be like Pella too.
Yes, sir.
They don't want to do everything that Pella is doing. They want to go into a relationship. They would want to, you know, if anything happens in the relationship, let's say they get heartbroken, they also want to take their own lives. They want to kill themselves. Do you understand? So yes, do you now see how social media influences
affects
youthful exuberance?
Yeah. Yes, so talking about relationship, so are you saying a guy and a girl shouldn't be in a relationship, like be friends,
yes,
till a certain age?
Okay, yes, they can be friends. For example, I'm sure you have some friends, you know, amongst your peers, amongst your schoolmates, right?
Yes.
But you are not in a romantic relationship, are you?
No.
You're not, because you are not of age yet. Do you understand? So I think it's very important to know where to draw the line. As a young person, you can have friends. When I was your age, I also had friends. Do you understand?
Yes.
But I was not in a relationship because I had no idea how to handle a relationship. So you must be mentally and, you know, emotionally, psychologically, physically matured enough to handle a relationship before, you know, going into one. You don't go into a relationship because your friends are in a relationship or because people you know are in a relationship. Do you understand? So to answer your question, yes, it's healthy to have friends. That's because nobody's an island. There are things you don't know that your friends can teach you. Okay? Either directly or indirectly. I'm sure there are some things that you've learned from friends. Things you didn't know how to do that you've learned from friends, right? Some people even learn confidence from friends. Let's say you don't know how to express yourself, and then you have a friend that is very, very, you know, vibrant, that can express, you know, themselves very well. That's something to learn from them, right? Before you know it, it begins to rub off on you. That's positive influence. So it's okay to have friends, but it's not okay to be in a relationship until you are, you know, matured enough age-wise, psychological-wise, mental-wise, and otherwise.
Thank you, sir. Thanks. So can you give some advice to people who are like them doing a romantic relationship before their age?
Okay, it's simple. Wait till you're of age. It's that simple. You see, the world is